Hello and welcome to Safe Schools. I'm Curtis Graves.
I'm Andy Howard.
Andy, what are we talking about today? I know it's going to be good, but what are we talking about?
It is going to be good. It's going to be the name of the show, Safe Schools.
Okay.
We're going to be talking about safe schools and school safety and some things that we're doing in the school district that are going to help to make the schools even safer. I'm excited about this conversation because, you know, it speaks to why we're here and why we're doing this show.
Sounds great. We'll be right back.
As a student in the Mobile County Public Schools, there are a few things I've come to expect. One is a quality education, and the other is a quality lunch. Not only are our school meals well-balanced, meeting all federal nutritional standards, but they also have less fat, fewer calories, and they taste really good. Oh, and I forgot to mention, our school lunches contain whole wheat, grains, fruits, and vegetables to give me the energy and brain power to get me through the day.
Smartboard, that's right.
And welcome back. I'd like to introduce our guest today. Good friends, good experts in what they do for a living, and so I think it's going to be a good conversation. Hello, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Eric Terry, Resource Officer. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself.
Currently, this is my 27th year in law enforcement. I've been a resource officer for 15 and have enjoyed that greatly. You know, I just like being around the kids and you know, the topic we're on today, I think, you know, is very important to our system.
And Johnny Thornton.
Yes, sir.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Share with our audience a little bit about who Johnny Thornton is.
Johnny Thornton comes from a background of 30 years in law enforcement. Got 28 in actually law enforcement, 2 years as a resource officer. And I cover 5 schools.
Okay.
School system.
That's an asset to the school district to have guys with your degree of experience in law enforcement working in the school setting. The conversation today, Alice.
That's right.
What does that mean, Johnny?
Alert, lockdown, inform, counter, and evacuate.
And so what does that mean in terms of execution? What are you doing when you do those things?
Basically, what we're looking at now is putting the lockdown or evacuation back on our teachers, giving them an option. Before, on lockdown, our teachers just had one option, and that was just to go with the students and hide in the corner and wait. But now we've gone a little bit further, and it's what we call really a lockdown on steroids.
Okay.
Where they can actually barricade, they can counter, and counter is not fighting. We just want everybody to understand that. But we just want everybody to know that we are giving our students and teachers a little bit extra for them to provide for the safety for themselves and the students.
Okay, I'm the little neophyte in all of this in terms of not being familiar with Alice to the degree in which you guys are. So why are we doing Alice?
Actually provides for a better safety environment for our students. Like I said before, they would just hide in the corner and just wait. And a lot of the school shootings that occurred previously, the students that were actually committing the crimes knew that students were going to be hiding in the corner. Well, that's not the case anymore. You know, we're giving it back to our teachers, the options that they can evacuate, they can counter, they can barricade, and our students are eventually going to be trained in it also. And the students will actually know what to do as far as Alice goes, as their training to lock down or counter. And like I said, please make the public understand, counter is not fighting back.
Yeah. What makes Alice so unique from other training programs? Because school systems used a number of different things in the past to try to educate and make people aware of safety concerns that exist anywhere?
You know, Curtis, when in my generation, everybody remembers the Columbine incident. And what we learned through that was people react as they're trained. Well, like Johnny said, they were trained to lock down. And now, during the Columbine thing, we learned that kids locked down, and some of them were victimized, but there was an open door 20-something feet away that they could have evacuated. Now it gives each individual person an option to, of course, we first want to evacuate and get away from the problem, but then you can barricade the door and get out another way. And if the threat is right on top of you when it happens, you have the option to counter and evacuate. And what I found out in my training is, as everybody is doing their own thing, you know, you may be a runner, you may be a screamer, he may be a fighter, whatever you're doing, it's hard for that bad guy, if you will, to stay focused on one person, and we minimize life-threatening injury.
Okay.
So in the lockdown perspective, you know, if you train them just to sit down there and hide, and the bad guy knows that, the change that we're talking about gives the bad guy a definite disadvantage over the advantage they previously had of not knowing what you're going to do, and you having a choice of what you choose to do.
And I think our biggest thing was, too, when we first started this, Alice, was getting our teachers to buy into it. But once we started teaching the classes and showing them the scenarios and showing them as we progressed into scenarios that it actually works as a distraction, evacuation, lockdown with barricading, you know, it works, and the teachers were buying into it. And that's another thing we'll have to do to the students, is we'll have to sell it to them also, that it does work and it's been proven to work.
But I would imagine it makes it easier to sell to the students if you have buy-in from faculty and others that are tasked with educating our students.
Sure,
Yes,
and you know, we're all here from law enforcement backgrounds, and we've been in high-stress situations. I had to buy into it, you know, and the first thing that we did was a traditional lockdown, and we use an air horn to simulate, say, gunfire. And if they put you in a desk like a student and you hear that coming, you feel your heart rate get up and all this, and it shocked me, because I've been in some situations in law enforcement. And then when you teach the other, that you have other options than just sit there, it's easy to buy in. At first, you know, I'm like everybody else, I was skeptic. And then when you go through the training yourself, you realize how much it works. And we tend to focus on the victim. However, when you do the scenarios, you also realize that that bad guy can't stay focused in everything that's going on, because everybody does have individual choices.
We recently were acknowledged and recognized by Alice for a particular accomplishment. Can you talk about that a little bit? The entire school district at Mobile is the only district in the state to be completely Alice certified as a whole district.
That's because of the number of participants we had. You know, we have approximately 7,500 employees in the school district. Well, we have over 75 or 80% completion of the people that's actually taken Alice and been trained in it. And with that, it comes a certification from Alice that we are a Alice organization or certified organization.
So that means that the majority of our staff knows what Alice is, knows how Alice works, and are capable of implementing Alice in an emergency.
That's correct, yes, sir.
That's correct.
All sounds really, really great, guys, and we're going to dive right back into this after a quick commercial break.
I believe my child's school is probably one of the best ones I could have picked in Mobile. She's in the PACE program. The teachers are phenomenal. The principal, couldn't ask for a better principal. The research that I had done myself, I believe the quality of education in Mobile County Public School System is excellent. For me and my child, I'm going to stick with the public school system. I think it's the way to go.
It's a fact. Bullying happens. Bullying can lead to serious physical and emotional pain. But there are some things you can do to prevent or stop it. Stand up for the person who's being bullied. Let the bully know that it's not cool to pick on others. Take action by reporting the bully to a teacher or principal. In the end, when you help someone who's being bullied, you are also helping yourself.
And we're back, guys. We were just talking off camera earlier about Alice and how Alice in and of itself, it is a national program, right or wrong?
That is correct.
Okay. Can you tell us basically what other states are actually implementing Alice training?
Nationally, there's, you know, it's huge. I mean, everybody's doing it. I mean, that seems to be the trend that we're going to. And we're talking about schools, but I think in general, Alice grew so big because of soft targets, businesses, schools, movie theaters, hospitals. You know, it's just grown since we started it.
That's right.
About a year ago, and it's a great program. It seems to be the leader, and like I said, it's not only here, and it's in every state, and it's growing businesses.
And that's what I wanted to get a clearer understanding on, Eric, because soft targets. Schools are not the only soft targets we have, right?
Correct. Right. Churches, movie
theaters, and having a clear understanding on some basic safety techniques are things to do wherever you are, not just in school. Alice can be applied anywhere.
Sure.
You know, as law enforcement officials, you guys work in law enforcement. You bought into this program pretty quickly because of the relevance to it and the real world reality of what we deal with, and the fact that you know that we have to do something different that makes sense in minimizing or mitigating harm to students and as well as adults, right? So what really drives home to you the importance, and either one of you guys can chime in on this, but what drives home to you the need to do this?
I would say the safety of the kids. You know, me, myself, I wouldn't want that on my conscience, you know, not to be able to have something or a tool in my tool bag, to teach faculty to say, hey, this really works. If you do this, you can minimize it. It'd be like if they offered something at a supermarket and they say, you buy this item at supermarket, it will reduce you probably 80% of being shot or killed in a school shooting or a mass shooting. You would buy that item. And that's what we're selling here is the Alice training. Alice training actually works, and it's been proven to work. You know, and that's what we're trying to get across to all our faculty. It does work. And eventually it will get across to all our students, and it will save lives if it's applied properly.
Right.
So if something happens, something not good happens, survivability speaks to if you do nothing, nothing good will happen.
Correct.
If you do something, you give yourself a chance.
Correct.
If you have a plan, you increase the chance of something working to your benefit.
And that's why we wanted to turn it back to the teachers and give them an option. You know, when we do that first scenario, it's just old standard lockdown, go hide in the corner and just wait. And we were there in our training when we got certified, and it's like, you can't believe what you're just waiting on. Anticipation, it's like it's coming. Well, when you get through to that last scenario and you teach these teachers Alice, and you say, what do you feel like now? And they go, like, we feel like we're empowered.
Being empowered. That's
you know, we got options now to where before we didn't.
And it goes to implementation, and this is what you guys are trying to do, because again, the best plan is only as good as its implementation.
Correct.
And getting the buy-in that you need from the faculty improves your ability to truly impact safety in a positive way by getting that buy-in.
Sure. And I think we're talking about, you know, big group schools, churches, things of that nature. But once we teach this, we're also training an individual plan. It's not just about that. You can be out on the weekend or, you know, and you notice your surroundings. You have an idea, you know, this is going to carry out. And, you know, we see it in the media routinely.
That's a
So
secondary
this is-
benefit, isn't
Sure,
it, to all of the people who have received ALICE training. The secondary benefit is that it's enhanced their situational awareness and implementation of plans for not only at school, but wherever they are. So, we'll talk about that a little bit, Eric. You would.
Well, I mean, once you go through it, my wife's a teacher, Johnny's wife's a teacher. They don't see what we do in law enforcement. They don't understand, they don't recognize, and sometimes they see us differently because we do notice people in a restaurant or people at a movie theater, different people acting or what they're wearing. We just notice our surroundings. And then I have a lot of staff, and by staff, let me tell you, this is huge to me because now we've got our custodial staff involved,
Right.
our cafeteria people involved. In my 15 years, this is the first time we've included everybody because they're all on different shifts and it's hard to get them all to the same place to train at the same time, and everybody's bought in here.
And that's important because they're there, things are happening,
Well, who
and
knows
they
your
need to be a
building
part
better
of the
than your
process.
maintenance people? If you had something in the cafeteria, who knows that better than them? And so when you do that, they're all involved, and they come back and say, I've started noticing my surroundings, whether I'm going to the parking lot to get in my car, or I'm out with family or friends. So it's huge. I mean, it's a lot bigger than what we just on the surface. When you say ALICE, it's a lot bigger than that.
So you're teaching situational awareness.
Exactly.
Of what you're doing.
Exactly.
And like I said, when the teachers come back to you and they thank you for the training, it makes you feel good. But it also, when they come back and say, hey, we were out at dinner the other night, and said I was talking to my wife about it, and then I made her start being aware of the number of exits that were in the building.
Exactly.
Yeah, and so it makes you feel good because, like Eric said, you're passing it on to the next individuals, so make them aware so they won't become victims.
So that enhances not only their safety at school, at work, it helps them to make themselves safer in the world. It will make themselves be less victims, less susceptible to becoming victims.
Correct.
The other thing about ALICE too, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, but it also ties in your local law enforcement jurisdictions where they're involved. I know we had some police officers to get trained also in the ALICE program, and got reports back from them that it was a great learning program tool for them to actually get something and bring back to the PD with the hope that more would actually become aware of it as well.
Well, part of the training, I wasn't thinking about it, but you brought it up. It teaches you how to, when an officer responds to a scene, he doesn't know what he's going into, and his emotions are up as well. And ALICE also trains you in how to encounter an officer in a hostile situation, what to do if you're securing a weapon, if a weapon's just laying there. I mean, it goes into the whole thing. It brings all your first responders and the schools, everybody into play.
Sounds great. I mean, this is a lot of information, and we're going to try to slow it down a little bit to make sure that our viewers really get what we're talking about. But we're going to go to a quick commercial break and be right back.
I believe my child's school is probably one of the best ones I could have picked in Mobile. She's in the PACE program. The teachers are phenomenal. The principal, couldn't ask for a better principal. The research that I had done myself, I believe the quality of education in Mobile County Public School System is excellent. For me and my child, I'm going to stick with the public school system. I think it's the way to go.
At Mobile County Public Schools, we believe it starts with us. That's why we offer Signature Academies.
Hello, I'm Jordan Clark, and I'm in the Health Service Academy at John L. LaFleur Magnet High School. My future career is to be an obstetrician gynecologist. With this academy, I'm learning firsthand from people already working in the industry. Shadowing them on the job really makes me want to study hard and work harder towards my career goals.
Signature Academies are open to all students in Mobile County Public High Schools. Visit MCPSS.com.
Each month, more than 90 guns are reported stolen from unlocked vehicles, creating the potential of serious injury or death.
Lock it up.
Many violent acts and crimes are committed with stolen guns.
Lock it up.
According to ATF, stolen guns pose a substantial threat to public safety.
Lock it up.
Be responsible. Take time to record your handgun serial number and secure it from thieves. Lock it up.
Lock it up for me.
Welcome back. Alice. Now, we've been using that term a lot, but for our audience's benefit, can we talk a little bit about what that acronym actually defines?
Because we're not talking about a person.
Yeah, we're not talking about
who is this Alice?
Well, when we're talking about Alice, everyone's acronym, like A is for alert. What was the initial alert that they received, whether it be through the PA system, was it actually gunfire, was it screaming? You know, what drew their attention to the alert that something was going on? Lockdown. Lockdowns could be either enhanced. When we talk about enhanced, we're talking about actually barricaded. Just a typical lockdown where it just might be intruder on campus, no shots fired. So, I mean, that's why the teachers are important, or the faculty is important, to know what to do as far as lockdown goes. And inform. When you're talking about inform, it could be like they actually see something themselves. Are they making a call to 911? We always train them that if they're making a call to 911, if the operator goes, I've already got that information, and at that point, they should just hang up unless they got some new information to give. Like I said earlier, counter is not fighting, but we do teach them in our scenarios that they do have items that they can counter with. Staplers, anything, books that the kids can throw, anything they basically get their hands on is a counter.
Noise, you know,
Yeah,
anything
noise,
that you can use in your
screams.
favor.
Yeah, whatever they can do to counter, to interrupt that OODA loop, as we call it. Once they interrupt that, then they have to start the process all over again, and it makes it harder for that person to gain access to a target, as if they're shooting at the students.
Right.
So you want to interrupt that and then evacuate. Do you need to do all these in order? No. If you get alerted to something's going on and you can safely evacuate, say it's in the other side of the building where you hear it, or it's announced that it's in the other side of the building, go ahead and evacuate. That's what we teach as teachers. You know, get out of the building and get as far away as you can with your students.
You know, the thing I like about it more than anything else, as I learn more about it, is that it has a collective impact approach, meaning that you're incorporating everyone to be involved in the process of creating the safest outcome possible given the circumstance. So you're talking about the students, you're talking about your maintenance personnel on your campus, you're talking about your school administrator, you're talking about your teacher, you're talking about your students, you're talking about all these different people, then you're talking about folks outside of your system. You're talking about local law enforcement and fire, and tell me if I'm missing anybody else in it.
I mean, we use law enforcement, we use fire rescue, EMTs. You know, we all have a general safety plan with the school layouts and stuff like that. Well, we've shared with law enforcement and first responders, all of those partners that we have involved, the floor plans of the school, where we're going to stage this and that, and you know, everybody's on board. It's a giant puzzle when you put it all together, and it starts with the staff and the students. One of the things that we want to get out is that we're never telling an elementary school child to counter. Evacuation is the first thing. Evacuation, remove those kids from that threat. And then we'll adjust from there. And the simple thing for me is everybody knows that serious parent voice. And these kids know when that teacher says, let's go here, let's go there. They know that voice and they're going to react. And that goes all the way through to the end where we meet up with first responders and we reconnect the student with the parent or staff with family.
You know, I like giving people things that they can measure by. I like when you tell somebody alert, just paying attention, being alert and being conscious of your surroundings, and recognizing things for what they are and making appropriate decisions based on that information. So encouraging a person to be alert, you know, see something, recognize it for what it is, say something.
You know, as we start to draw to the end of this interview, one of you guys tell me and Andy, along with the viewers, the importance for parents to really take heed to the information that you're sharing today, with the hope that they will be hearing more about this information about Alice from their student. How important is that?
It's very important. I think we discussed that in our last safety meeting that we had, as far as the safety department was, is getting the word out to parents. We even talked about making a video so the parents will understand what Alice is, and not to jump to conclusions that it's going to be their student fighting someone that comes into school. No, that's our last resort. That's the very last thing you want to do. But we're going to empower the students that if you need to evacuate, or your teacher wants to evacuate, you evacuate. If they want to barricade, barricade. But it's important that the parents buy into this also and understand that the only thing we're trying to do is to save their child.
That's right.
And help the safety of that child coming home each and every day to their family.
And that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So, you know, if someone wanted to know more about Alice, how would they go about getting more information from the security department of the school system?
If they want to contact the security department, or if they just want to go online to YouTube. YouTube, if you put in Alice training, there's a whole segment that you can actually watch videos of what Alice is actually about, and it will go through the scenarios with you, what will occur.
So all of the high schools have a resource officer. There's the department. Oh my God. The department is fully versed. Our district office is versed. The security department is fully versed, and so they can ask. And
you can even go. I mean, go to the school, talk to your principal. Like I said, we've trained everybody. You know, we're in the state. We've got more people certified than any other school district. So, you know, start that conversation, and it's easy because it is a conversation starter.
I'm going to say this as we wrap up. You know, Mobile County Public School System has some of the best personnel securing the safety of their students here, and not enough is said about that. But you know, I would encourage everyone who's a parent, and you don't have to be a parent, but to learn more about your security office, so that you can be more aware of all the safety measures that's been put in place here in Mobile County Public Schools. Thanks for being here, guys. Wealth of information, and let's definitely have another conversation in the future. This has been Safe Schools. I'm Curtis Graves.
And I'm Andy Howard. Thank you.